Hi everyone, this is O.G.Starwars, and thank you for coming in for another Thursday coffee chat. Let me turn off my music. I always like to listen to music while I'm prepping and get myself pumped up. Whoops, for you guys. So, what's the first question of the morning? Very important. What are you drinking this morning, this afternoon, or whatever the time frame is for you? And I think this mug is quite fitting today since we are talking about some nonsense going on. We are going to cover the High Republic, the article that says that this is the first Wookiee. That's the title. It's the first Wookiee ever seen, I guess. Let me see. Yeah. And also talk about maybe the brainstorm board that, was advertised on the High Republic announcement as well. And then we're going to get into some lore, maybe talk some Wookiee talk, maybe, since that's kind of the subject here. Also, geez, losing my voice. Oh my God. Also, we'll get over and talk about the novel Fury from Legacy of the Force. And I've discovered there's going to be some books that are not as popular as others, and Fury is one of them. Not very many views or even a comment on that book from my review, and that's okay. I understand some people like certain characters and like certain books, and that may not be one of them. So first off, I have something fun to share. I found this little gem here, and it's Wado. There we go. So I picked him up. Thought it was pretty cool. My platform, my overall thing is to stay within George Lucas era. That includes the movies, the EU, all that. So that's my fun little pickup I got, adding to my collection of George Lucas era Funko Pops. All right, let's see who's in the chat here. Good morning, Stig. Good morning, Soul Assassin. The Senate's in the house. How are you doing? Nephilim 82. Sorry if I butchered that. Hello, how are you doing? So we have about 9 people here, so I'm very glad you're here. Again, share with me what your preferred drink this morning. Again, mine is coffee Folgers with a little bit of milk and sugar. I ran out of my favorite creamer, which I usually just use a little bit of creamer, coconut creamer, and that's it. And so I ran out, so that's my next thing I do. Hi, Teresa. How are you doing, darling? All right. So many of you who follow me on Twitter probably already know how I feel about this High Republic announcement, or the Project Luminous, I guess it's called. And I've stated, my opinion on that. The contradictions I do see just from what they advertised as well, and the article that basically says that this is the first time we're going to see Wookiees. And it's funny, this person who wrote the article, they did refer back to the Clone Wars Wookiee Gunji, and inside the article, yes. However, they don't talk about any other Wookiees that have been in the lore. And their title basically is a clickbait one where they say it's the first time ever having a Wookiee. And so there's a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of mixed reactions on this. And I also come to the conclusion that, people who write these articles don't do the research. And even if this is advertisement straight from Disney Lucasfilm themselves, I have found that they don't pay attention to their own lore. So let's see who is also in here. Hey, Gospel, how are you doing? Listening at work. I'm drinking my coffee here too, just switched to decaf. Not bad. Nice. I mean, it's coffee still, just less with less oomph to it, right? All right, Nerd Cookies, good morning. Adega Outlaw, hi, good afternoon. Okay, let's see what Stig has to say. The person who wrote the book bragged about having started the story when he was 6, so the story is created by a 6-year-old. That's what he said. I've been writing this since I was 6. So basically, he's referring back to how he grew up, maybe liking Star Wars. what I find is that sometimes a person can like Star Wars and it's only the movies and never got into the EU. So they just don't understand the overall lore. So it doesn't mean just because he said, I've been writing since I was 6, doesn't mean that he understands the lore. Or they or anybody. Nerd cookies. I'm on my way to lunch. No coffee for me. It's tea time. Awesome. What is your preferred tea? Just straight black tea? Which sweetener? Do you like green tea? What's your preferred tea? The Senate. As long as I don't screw up characters, we know I could care less, not interested in this at all. And that's the thing. So this is like kind of like almost a clean slate for them. And yes, Disney Lucasfilm has the right to do whatever they want with the franchise that they are now ownership of. But they need to understand that once they start rehashing Legends character into their timeline, bringing them in, or rehashing, remaking the beloved movie characters that we grew up and love, there's going to be a lot of backlash. And, they bring in Legend stuff, even though they say, oh, that's no longer valid. We're going to throw it over here, coin it Legends, whatever. You like what we give you kind of deal. It's just off-putting having them bring in Legend stuff and say, oh, well, we brought this in, so you must like it now because we are bringing something you love. No, they're bringing us something that is maybe just a shell of the character, like Thrawn, for example, because he's the first one that was admitted into the new lore. All right, Stigs. They also gave the Wookiee Jedi a surname. Lore-breaking Wookiees only have one name, always did. Correct. And that Wookiee name, and we'll get to it here, that Wookiee name doesn't even sound like it's Shiri-Wook. It doesn't even sound like it's pertaining to the language. So I question that. Are they even going to adhere to the lore and the language that was created, the Shiri-Wook language? They already have in Solo Han speaking Wookiee, when we know in the original lore, if you've read the Han Solo trilogy, that not humans maybe can say just a little tiny bit, but humans cannot speak Shiri-Wook because of the type of vocal cords Wookiees have, and Wookiees really can't speak basic as well. We do have one that can, but he has a speech impediment, and that's expanded on in the lore as well. Okay, and that's in Thrawn trilogy. My tea is, Mr. T is my favorite. Yes. Hi, Lorena. How are you doing, sweetheart? Hey, all. I'm here lurking while I eat my lunch. Hangry. Girl, you get your lunch on. You get your eats on. Fatal J, how are you doing? I'm lurking too. I'm at work. Thank you guys for, coming in while you're at work. I'm such a bad influence. I'm so sorry. All right. Nerd cookies. I'm in the South, so iced tea is my jam. Otherwise, green tea with peach, and I usually do stevia. Awesome. Okay. He'll see tea. That's how I'll say that. I'm torn, which is worse. Disney, Star Wars, or Kurtzman's Star Trek. Tough decision. Oh my God. And I've been, my grandmother was a big Star Trek fan. So I grew up with the very first Star Trek with Picard and all them. And so I do know that. But I've never expanded my knowledge on Star Trek. I always steered towards Star Wars, as you can tell. And just watching this Star Trek debacle go down as well, it just breaks my heart for those who are like super hardcore fans of Star Trek as well, because I can relate. All right. Don't get me started on Thrawn. Thrawn was so retarded in Rebels. It was beyond infuriating. It was. I did catch a couple of episodes because I was curious about that, because Thrawn is one of my favorite characters that is in the Empire. And and just his tactical mindset and how he used art. And as an artist, I think that's amazing. How he uses art to figure out the species and stuff like that was brilliant on Timothy Zahn's part, creating that character. When you see Thrawn in Rebels, like when he's on, I don't even remember the planet, but when he's on the planet there, I think it wasn't Loth. I don't know. You guys can correct me because, like I said, I'm not very well versed in Rebels. I just watched that out of curiosity, and how he was not too tactical when it came to Bendu or whatever, and just how that all went down. It was very, my belief in him just was like, they just tore him apart. I'm sticking with Thrawn in Legends. So, and then hearing about how he was captured by that space squid, a space squid. Okay. The gospel according to Mark, they're lazy writers. They don't actually want to do their research. No, they don't. You can rewrite, you can rewrite history, but you can destroy the remnants of it. Can't. Okay, there we go. You can't rewrite. Or, okay. Soul Assassin, do you think the High Republic will be affected in any way by the new Bob running Disney? That is just, we just have to sit and wait. We have to sit and wait and see what goes down. Kennedy's still in there, and she, by the sound of it, she's really involved in this project. However, she's really involved in a lot of projects, and she's even a producer for The Mandalorian. So she's involved with that as well. So she has a say in stuff. So when they said, oh, well, she's banned from the set, she's their boss. She's the producer. That's not going to happen. The only time we're going to see her banned from any set is when they fire her, when they walk her out. So I don't believe that. That would have been all over the news if that happened, because she's very well known. She's produced so many movies in the past. She's got this huge record of movies under her belt as well. So I don't see that happening without any headlines, really, like headlines from the movie industry and stuff. Stieg, if you need mugs for your coffee, or maybe, oh yes, thank you. There you go. And I do have merch. And I'm going to show you this right here. I'm finishing up this new avatar here. This is not a dark trooper or anything like that. It's Stealth X flight suit. Excuse me. Wow. It's a Stealth X flight suit, and this is modeled off of Jaina Solo and her Stealth X. So when I'm done with it, it'll be full body, full figure, and you'll see the lightsaber and everything. So I'm going to add this to my merch as well. So anybody's interested in that, that will be up here soon. The Senate, school's pretty boring. More fun listening to this while working on an essay. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. All right. Everyone talks, and this is Spirit Thief. Hello, how are you doing? Everyone talks about the bad. How about some good? Have you seen the new Harley Quinn animation? It is very good, very adult. I love it. That's good. And, I'm not going to talk about any other franchise here because we are talking Star Wars. And my platform, if you haven't been here yet, is that I love to talk the original EU lore, so George Lucas era, are coined legends, even the movies and stuff. And I like to compare and contrast between the two lores. And when you grew up and known and loved and watched the franchise grow in a history that's connected to the movies, and then you have new owners that say, that's not relevant anymore, and they start rebooting and rewriting everything, you're going to have some fans that are, a lot of fans that are going to be pissed. There are going to be some that sit on the fence and want to enjoy both sides, new and old. Then you're going to have those that are just dedicated to the new franchise. It's always going to happen that way. But when you have a franchise that's over 40 years old before the buyout, and people have watched this franchise grow and evolve through novels, through games, through the, based upon the movies, seamlessly tying in together into one history in a fantasy lore, you are going to have people that are going to be disgruntled, I guess you can say. Senate. Also, Thrawn's sidekick in the books was cool. In Rebels, he looked like a dumb ninja man. Thrawn's sidekick, are you talking about Rook? Are you talking about yeah, I think you're talking about Rook, right? Because see, they put him in the Rebels, correct? See, that's the thing I don't know. And the thing is that did they really bring Palpatine back as his number 2? Okay. Stick. Thrawn was like Gargamel in Rebels. Gargamel failing every episode to catch the Smurfs. Referring to the Smurfs. I love the Smurfs. Oh my God, that was such a fun cartoon to watch. All right. Alex, Thrawn being shortchanged to go after some rabble is beneath him. Yes. He always had other people do it. He was always tactical. If he felt like it wasn't worth the chase or there was no gains from it or he was going to lose people, he retreated. He had no shame in saying, we may have lost this battle, but the overall thing is winning the war. So he knew that taking loss can also benefit. That was part of his strategy. He didn't want to be like Vader and just sacrifice anybody and everybody just to try to win. And that's, to say it in such an easy term to understand. Alex, wish we got the Sword of the Jedi series and the trilogy George planned. Yes. And the sword, and what I've said before about that trilogy, because they said, oh, it's going to be based upon the wills and stuff. I was like, wow, they keep continuity within the original lore, George's franchise when he had it. And I see him, if he still produced the movies himself, I still see him honoring the lore, especially after having all these like books written from post Return of the Jedi all the way to Crucible. I see him honoring the lore. So I could see him, or I could see them putting that movie around Crucible, where they can and then they have the Sword of the Jedi come out, and they'll have their big 3, Jaina, Jagged, and Ben Skywalker, and then they progress from there. That's how I envision it, and putting the wheels in that would still work, and seeing the big 3 come up as the new protagonists, and Jaina being the main protagonist, not Ben Skywalker, but Jaina. All right. The Senate, have you played KOTOR 1? I have KOTOR, and I'm getting ready to play it. I haven't started it just yet. So, yeah, it's been a while since I gamed, and I'm so excited. I haven't been able to start it yet, which I'm kind of sad, but I have it now. Yes, Rook. Yeah. I said I knew. I was like, is it Rook? All right, Alex, I gave Disney and the rest a chance. Now I just want them to burn. And that's a lot of people. I was curious. I was upset when they decided to get rid of the EU for their creative freedom. And I kind of understood that they probably would have, but that's where I was displaced. And so I still gave them I was still curious about what they were going to do with the sequel trilogy. And once I watched The Force Awakens, I was like, oh, they're rebooting. That's my impression. They're rebooting. Spirit Thief. I take the Clone Wars series as canon. Anakin was the badass in the series. Vast improvement over the emo crying in the prequels. I kind of will disagree with you on that. I love Tartakovsky's Clone Wars because they still take time for Anakin to mature into a Jedi Knight, and they knight him later to give us his arc of growth still, because he came into the Jedi Order in such a young or older age. He was still dealing with attachment. He was an angsty teenager because he never grew up and was taught celibacy at the time. And so he had a lot of reasons and stuff to be the way with his mindset that we see in the prequel trilogy. And Tarkovsky's Clone Wars helped us see him progress a little bit, a lot slower into a mature Jedi Knight that we get in Revenge of the Sith. We see a significant growth between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. He's still conflicted because Palpatine is manipulating him, and that is a part of his angstiness as well. So there's a lot of depth that's going on in Anakin. And when you see the Clone Wars, bam, he's all of a sudden mature. They all of a sudden give him a Padawan. And to me, that doesn't make sense. Let him progress slower so that it's more believable. And that's just my take on that. I mean, if you don't see it that way, that's fine. Stig, the Clone Wars is canon in both, where'd it go? You jumped. Oh, there you go. In both canons, which makes it problematic. It is all over the place. So I stated that it's no longer in Legends, and I pissed some people off, but that's how I see it. Now that they bring episode 7, they're redoing season 7, and we've already seen episode 1, which I really liked because I liked the clone troopers that, you know, that they focused on in just that. But I see it more, you know, in Disney canon than even in Legends. And so that's why I tweeted that, and I did get some people upset about that, but hey, it is what it is. The Senate, you know you failed as a writer if you make Tarkin more intimidating than Thrawn. I like Tarkin, but Thrawn was way better, but that's small compared to the Dave Filoni's fuck ups. Okay. I haven't read Tarkin. I haven't read that novel, the new one. And they're like, oh, that was made in transition of the buyout. But the thing is they made Tarkin gay. Yeah. And we all know he had an affair with Natasi Dala in the original lore. So that was still, I was like, no, we're not going in this diversity bullcrap thing. I didn't, you know, it didn't fit the lore. It people who grew up reading about him and Dala and all that, that just takes him out of the experience. Okay. Hi, Abunus. Hi, Abunas. Holy crap. I'm here, OG, front and center for the coffee chat shenanigans. So happy to see you holding court. Hello. And I swear I can talk. I can communicate. I swear, I promise. Maybe I just need more coffee, right? Stig, Filoni also made Jango not a Mandalorian because he wasn't born on Mandalore. Yet in the Mandalorian, main character is Mandalore, or yeah, in the Mandalore, even though he is not born on Mandalore. Exactly. And the thing is that, okay, on that, they also now say, and this applies to Legends as well, is that you don't have to be born on Mandalore to be Mandalorian. You can be adopted. And so that helps retcon the Fett's back as being Mandalorian. And another thing is that Fett, Jango Fett, was born on Concord Dawn, which is a part of the Mandalorian sector. So in the Jedi, in the Legacy of the Force series, we do have Fett in the series as well. And the next novel that I'm touching bases on for the lore review is Revelation, and we get Jaina Solo getting trained by Fett, and he is the Mandalore. He is their leader. And so all this thing was this big confusion with what Filoni did and what George allowed and stuff like that with the Mandalorians. It really takes away what was the lore of the Mandalores, the language that Karen Travis put together for that. I mean, she expanded on all of that brilliantly. And, you know, so it's still in Legends. We'll see if they're still going to apply that in The Mandalorian. And I think they are, because I've heard some. Forget Couture, get with me and some fandom members on. Oh, okay. I was thinking about that. We'll see. We'll see. Sotor, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. I'm jumping around. Man, you guys are just hopping today. We got to get to that article. So I'm going to read a few of you guys here. And then, so if I don't get to your comment, I'm sorry. because we're going to get to the article here, and we're going to dissect that a little bit more, talk about Wookiees, talk about the Wookiees that were in the lore, and then move on to the novel. Okay. He didn't even get the rank of master. Not yet, but there was a reason for that. At O.G.Starwars, hi, Alexander. How are you doing? I'm glad you're here. What is the best Star Wars comic forever for you? I'm going to be biased, and I'll show you. Although I like the Legacies, but where is it? Oh. And there goes everything that's against my wall right there, including my saber. Yikes. Okay. This one. That is my absolute favorite, but I love post Return of the Jedi because I'm a big, huge Luke Skywalker fan. Yes. Okay. Alex, Rise of Skywalker ripped off the Dark Empire 2, switched Anakin soloed for Rey regarding the Palpatine spirit swap. Yeah, that's the thing too. Even like the Exegol, the planet, it was supposed to be Biss. Biss is where Palpatine essence went. So he did Sith alchemy, and he physically died. This Palpatine, even though they said, "Oh, I died," he didn't die, because if he did, he still has that body. He didn't die, and so Palpatine did a Sith alchemy. He died, and through Sith alchemy, he on Biss inhabited some of his clones, his clone bodies, and they aged really quick. That's why he had so many clones. And after he started running out of clones, he wanted to take over. And during that time too, he wanted to take over Anakin Solo, because Anakin Solo was so gifted or powerful in the Force, and Leia was pregnant with him or just had him. So that was kind of an interesting twist. Kind of went back to Darth Plagueis about immortality that was said, and even in Revenge of the Sith. So that tied in more better than what we've seen in Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, that was something that split the fans, or like got fans upset from the Legends. And so they should have just heeded that and did something different. Okay. The Senate, the guild name is simply Fandom Menace. We are the Senate. Yeah. O.G.Starwars, I need your info to send your funk. Oh my God. Okay. I will send that to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. I'm speechless. Thank you. Okay. Alex, say what people want of Dark Empire 1 and 2. Palpatine trying to possess Anakin was at least poetic. Yes. Rise of Skywalker has no such poetry. And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying if you look at the overall story of that time frame in Legends Dark Empire, and even how Luke went to the dark side to learn how to defeat it and learn and understand it, there was a lot of depth going on that, to even where the twins work together, and that was even prophesized in the lore. And so there's a lot of depth in that. There was nothing in this one here. So they take something and just turn it on its head, and it just causes disbelief with the fans. The Senate, I love and hate Clone Wars. It sucks a lot most areas, but there are some good, a lot of good, but fuck ups. The OT and PTR are inexcusable. Okay, so did you guys see the timeline that I shared on my Twitter? Let me see if I could pull that up, and then we'll get to the article, because we really need to get to that article. Let me see here, twitter.com. Let me see. I'll pull up that timeline, and you will see the damage the Clone Wars does to the overall foundation lore of Star Wars. Let me see. I probably have to scroll down a lot. I just need the elevator music or something. So in the comments, share with me what. So since we're talking the Clone Wars in this brief moment here, and if you watched it, share with me your favorite moments in the Clone Wars, what you liked about it. You know, there are some people that, you know, totally love the Clone Wars. There's people like me that are turned off by them. There, you know, and of course, there's always going to be good episodes. And then if you don't like it, you know, then that's fine. So go ahead and share in the comments. Here it is. Find. Okay, let's see if I could try to bring that up. Let me take this out. Okay. Open up. Chrome tabs. Oh, where'd it go? Is this it? Let's see. Share. Nope, that's not it. We were going to talk about that too, but that's not the one I'm looking for. That's not the Wookiee you're looking for. Okay. I might have to close something here. Chrome tab. Wookiees. Let's see here. Share. Still the same one. Okay, I'm going to have to click out of you real quick. There it is. All right, I will get my act together, you guys. I got this. I got this. Chrome tab. We'll do this one more time. Take 5. All right. Let's see if this is it now. Here we go. So this is the Clone Wars timeline. On top are novels and stuff, and on bottom the same thing. We also have a movie here or there. And all the X's are the Clone Wars series, and all the lines drawn from each of this material to that Clone Wars series is basically the time frames and callbacks or whatever are continuity broken. And so if they have an X on them, that means that continuity to that source has been broken. And there are more X's than there is non-X's. There's a lot. Even if you see on the bottom there that I'm circling, if you could see my cursor, that is a movie. That is Revenge of the Sith. And you see multiple places, or a couple of places where it, actually multiple, because it splits up right here, of what's broken in the lore. And I'm not saying to not like it. That's not what I'm saying. So I hope you guys seen that. Did it go up on the screen? All right, so I'm not sure, you know, like I said, if you really like the Clone Wars, good for you. I'm not telling you not to like it. You know, you can like it for what it is and enjoy a good show that's Star Wars related. Me, I am a huge continuity person. So that's where I don't like it. I don't care for it. There are some episodes that are fun to watch, and I admit that. There's some that I do enjoy, but I do understand that the overall lore has been broken multiple times. Okay. Alexander, how Baby Yoda can use the Force without being trained. And that's the thing. They never expand on that. People are like, well, every time we see a species from Yoda's, or a species related to Yoda, they have used the Force. So that must be a species that's really gifted in this Force. And I don't see it that way. I still think you need to be trained. And in fact, when I was listening to Revelation, the novel that I'll be expanding on next Tuesday, and we'll talk about next Thursday, I did bookmark a part of it that I'm going to share on Twitter, and it talks about having to be trained as a Jedi. And it's Jaina Solo recognizing someone that's a Mandalorian, and she recognizes that he has been trained in the Force and not just recognizing just, you know, regular Force sensitivity. So that's a great callback on understanding that you do need training. Abu Nas, my favorite episode is with Obi-Wan and Satine. Their romance was one for ages. Yeah, and that's a good one. I'm aware of that one too, and that's a good one. Let's see here. Filoni is really garbage. Villains look at The Mandalorian. You know, the thing is like the director, the one that that stood out for The Mandalorians for me, that did the episode, was Chow. I really liked her episodes. And it's not because she's woman, it's because of the quality of it. The one that I didn't care for, that I thought was cartoonish and stuff, was Filoni's, but I think that he is more in that genre of the film stuff into cartoons and stuff than he is in live action. So that's my take on that. I tried watching Clone Wars. It's Lorena, and couldn't get into it. And that's a thing too, you know, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. And we're going to get into another thing that's not everybody's cup of tea. So let me go ahead and read a couple more. Let me see here. Poet Scotty, hello, how are you doing? Even Yoda had to train. Yes, he did. He did. And I talked about that when we were talking about the child, our baby. Spirit Thief, Baby Yoda is Yoda in a new body. I hope not. Alex, also the Mortis arc felt less like lore building and more like a cheap, this could change everything, bait and switch. And that's the thing. And they had to start retconning that in the original EU as well. Oh, he was looking forward to Chow's take on the Kenobi series until KK happened. She still will. And so I guess we'll patiently wait and see what happens with that. Yes. Lorena, Deborah Chow is an amazing director. I'm so impressed with her work in The Mandalorian so far. Yeah, and that's the thing. Hers was one of the best, or the best. I'm not saying because I don't care for Filoni's art or Star Wars and stuff like that. My critique on him with The Mandalorian, like I said, is that it felt too cartoonish and stuff. And I don't know if he's ever done any other live actions, but I do know that he's done Rebels and the Clone Wars, and that's what it felt like to me. It felt like a live version of that, and it was off-putting for me. So it is what it is. My favorite Clone Wars episode was when Anakin met the ones. Okay, Mortis. Alexander, O.G.Starwars, what do we know about Hammerhead and his species? He's one of my first action figures and in life and still have it today. We'll have to talk about that soon, okay? All right, so we're going to take a look at the article here and expand on that. We're coming up after 9:30. I really don't have a time frame today, so you guys are stuck with me if you choose to stay with me. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. All right. So Star Wars High Republic is introducing a new Wookiee Jedi. And new Wookiee Jedi. Okay. Lucasfilm has revealed the next big project, and it's going to bring some new ideas to the galaxy far, far away. The mysterious Project Luminous, oh, I love how they say the mysterious, was unveiled recently. We kind of got hints that this Project Luminous was basically the High Republic in the past. So there's no mystery behind that. And we know it would to be Star Wars: The High Republic. Yep. A massive new publishing campaign, so multimedia project basically, that will span across various publishers and mediums. This is going to be very interesting because I know George Lucas, he had like Legacy of the Force has 3 authors. It's not a multimedia project, but it has 3 authors, and that seamlessly goes together really well. So I'm very curious to see how well they keep continuity and together in these stories. And so far I've noticed that they don't. So I'm curious on that part, is their continuity. The first wave of titles have been revealed, including author Charles Soules's, so depending, book Light of the Jedi, which will introduce us a Wookiee Jedi. The High Republic trailer shows that the era takes place about 200 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. I'm glad they didn't say Skywalker Saga. Thank you so much. Which means we'll be exploring largely uncharted territory within the franchise. Yeah, in the EU, original EU, there wasn't some stuff that was covered so much in that time frame, but still it was still charted territory, just not as much. So I take that with a grain of salt with them saying, oh, it's never been expanded in that area before. It has a little bit. The cover of Light of Jedi was unveiled as part of the larger reveal, as fans were quick to notice the art features a Wookiee brandishing a lightsaber, which we already know Wookiees were Jedi before that, complete with a crossguard. Charles Soule, taking to Twitter, had this to say about it. The cover to Light of the Jedi, the novel that kicks off the massive Star Wars initiative, the High Republic, aka Project Luminous. It's the Jedi story I've been writing since I was 6 years old. Again, it's a Jedi story I've been writing since I was 6 years old. Yes, that's a Wookiee Jedi. His name is Buryaga Agaburi, which doesn't sound very Shiri Wook to me. That's off-putting, and they don't have two names. They may have a nickname like Chewbacca is Chewie, but they just have one single name. They don't have surnames. That's in the lore. And he is wonderful. Of course he is, because you wrote him and he's wonderful to you. The lady in front is named Avar Chris. The other folks have names too, but you'll meet them later, more soon. Okay, so it's either later or soon, darling. Fans, ever since Disney purchased Lucasfilm in 2012, have been clamoring for something new. Well, there's nothing really new going on here. Safe to say this qualifies. While we've seen Wookiee warriors fighting alongside Jedi, we've not seen an actual member of the species in this way before. It's still the same way. What's so different? He's a Jedi. Okay, the closest we've come to in the canon is Gunji, a Wookiee who was training to be a Jedi in the Clone Wars, but given what happened with the younglings during Order 66, his fate was undoubtedly grim. So they're just talking about strict canon, but we also had Lubaka, we had Tyvoka, we had Roar, Korvaka, we had Hanhar, but Hanhar basically was expanded on Kotor. They wanted him to be a Sith Wookiee type Wookiee or dark side Wookiee. That never fruitioned, but he was one considering to be Jedi or Sith. So basically we did have it. Just because Legends or the original EU is now coined Legends doesn't mean it never happened. Doesn't mean we never seen Jedi Wookiees. Virtually nothing else has been revealed about Buryaga yet. Well, will he have any relation to Chewbacca? Oh God, I hope not. No, leave Chewbacca out of this. Chewbacca is way better. Damn. Is he a Jedi Master or merely an apprentice? Light of the Jedi is set to be the first book in Star Wars, The High Republic, so we should hopefully be learning more sooner rather than later. The synopsis for the novel is brief and more of a tease than anything else. And this article is a friggin' huge tease that's suggesting that Wookiees never grew up as a Jedi. Lubaka, not Lu, but Lo. 200 years before the events of Star Wars Phantom Menace, in the era of the glorious High Republic, the noble and wise Jedi must face a frightening threat to themselves, the galaxy, and the Force itself. A threat to themselves? Okay. And I've been noticing that, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it seems to me that Disney Lucasfilm has been really discrediting the Jedi in a sense because we see them fall in the PT. And so they're really banking on making them less of our warrior heroes that maintains peace in the galaxy. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just taken back on that. The first wave of the titles will be released in August around Star Wars Celebration. Other titles that have been announced includes Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. I cannot stand her. And The Taste of Courage by Justina Ireland. So these are going to be very, very woke, diverse woman type things. Watch. And all the bad guys are going to be men. Okay. IDW will also publish a Star Wars The High Republic Adventures comic, with Marvel Comics publishing a Star Wars The High Republic series as well. So, okay. So they're having 2 comic series. Are they going to repeat the same thing? Are they going to contradict each other? Are they going to expand on with each other on that? So I am very curious again on continuity with this as well. Pick one comic providers and stick with it. We'll be sure to keep you posted as further details on the initiatives are made available. Be sure to check out our first look at Boryaga Agabury from Charles Soule's Twitter for yourself. So let's check this out. Oh, it's just the same Twitter that we all have been sharing. All right, the cover of Light of the Jedi, the novel that kicks off the massive new Star Wars initiative, the High Republic, aka. Oh yeah, so that's just a thing here. Yes, it's a Wookiee Jedi. His name is Boryaga Agabury and is wonderful. Okay, everything that we just read. Oh, what did I do? Where'd you go? My screen went blank on my end. I am still here. It just says my Google Chrome is not responding. Can you guys hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? I wonder if it's because I had too many windows up. Hello? Hello? All right, I'm going to try to open up a new window and hop back on with you guys. Holy crapola. I hope you guys can still hear me. Okay, hello. I don't know what's going on here. Take you out. All right, I'm back. So sorry that I lost you guys. It's my StreamYard uses Google Chrome, and I don't know if it's because I had so many windows up or not, or because I was talking shit about the High Republic or something. I don't know. So let me go ahead and read what you guys said about this article here, and we'll expand on that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up instead of going up to what I think is the beginning of the comments from this article. Star Wars has the right, or who has the right in Star Wars? IDW or Marvel. It looks like they're licensing both of them. That's what it sounds like. Disney and Lucasfilm writers sucks. Man, I am an amateur writer. My fan fiction are better than this shit. And that's the thing. Talking with people who have written before and listening to them compare what Disney is doing and bringing in just reinstates that, again, like you said, they're lousy writers. Okay. Personally, I was never a fan of the idea of Wookiee Jedi. I always assumed the Wookiees were more of a primitive group. Has there ever been an Ewok Jedi? Yes, there's an Ewok too. Again, they're just like Wookiees. They're far and few in between. Like I said, we have the Gunji, we have Lobaka, we have Trovaka, we have Roar, Korvaka, and they're each like Gunji is a Jedi Padawan in the Clone Wars. Lubaka, we basically see him grow up with the twins and Anakin Solo, and so they're not very common. And even though they live primitive, in a sense, they are very, very advanced and knowledgeable people and intellectual people, I guess you could say, are beings. All right, Alexander, O.G.Starwars, is it possible to have a Jedi Rancor? You know what? I don't think I've ever heard of one. I haven't read one yet, but they do have a Jedi Wampa. Or Wampa, Rise of the Empire, and this is Mr. Dystopian. Rise of the Empire was 1000 to 0 BBY. Doesn't make sense to have a High Republic take place 200 years before years BBY. And that's the thing. That's we also know that and this is one thing that people got pissed off about me about stating this on Twitter, is that on that checklist, I'm going to bring the checklist up, that whiteboard. And they have Sith Empire on that, and they I guess they put it under wishes, I believe. We'll pull that up here pretty soon. I'm kind of scared to open up some other Chrome tabs. But when you listen to the PT, the Sith were extinct for a millennia, so that's 1,000 years. So if they bring back the Sith, even though they weren't not technically extinct to the Jedi, they were. It goes against canon, because if they bring them in and have them be a rival faction to the Jedi like they always are, and there's going to be battles and stuff, then that takes away from the movies as well. So we shall see. All right. I got the feeling that the High Republic is taking place on a Jedi Praxium ship and the exploration corps from the trailer. Yeah, and that's another thing too, and that almost kind of reminded me of Outbound Flight, if you ever read the novel. But Outbound Flight happened during the prequel trilogy era, and it was exploration of the unknown regions that Senator Palpatine coordinated, and it was also a way of like killing and getting, like separating the Jedi and killing those that are on Outbound Flight. It's a great story. I suggest to read it. And then the novel that complements that is what is that? Has Mara and Luke are married already. Survivor's Journey. And so they get to explore the Outbound Flight, and they get to learn the story about what happened on there as well. Very interesting story to read. The Senate. No, I don't want Chewie to be related to a bitch. Exactly. It is either later or soon, darling. Proper burn. Poet Scotty. My Star Wars fan fictions are better than this. Watch Disney sue me for my stuff. Well, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't. Let's see here. All species have chance to use the Force, or even have a chance to. There was even a Hutt Jedi. Exactly. And so you're either born Force sensitive or you're not. However, the Force still influences life. But it's your midichlorians that help your body be attuned with the Force, if that's how you want to think about it. And it is also how much Force ability you're born with, or your Force sensitivity. And so not everybody is born with that, able to use and train in the Force. That's what made it very unique and different. Is not everybody can do it. Not everybody can harness it. It was a talent that, was gifted to random people, sometimes inheritance as well. And now Disney is saying, oh, you're born with the Force, and you're born with the Force. Anybody can use the Force, making it sound like Oprah's giving away cars. Alex Corgan, Disney and KK, we've got a diverse character. Lobaka and Vor Sabine, are we a joke to you? Make sure to hammer that like button. Yes, you guys, there is about 25 in here, and please like and share the stream so we can have more people come in. Again, I appreciate all that come in during, school if you can, or work. As long as you don't get in trouble, I don't want to be that bad influence. However, I do cherish you being here with me when you have the chance, even if it's for 15 minutes. Come in and enjoy our chat. Alexander, O.G.Starwars, what an amazing news. I would be stuck with you for years. Since we're Wookiees able to use the Force, or since we're Wookiees able to use the Force, that I think you kind of, I'm not comprehending this. Since when were Wookiees able to use the Force? Is that what you're saying? Episode 9 ruined Kenobi when they made the Chosen One a Palpatine. Exactly. Him watching over Luke's point is pointless now. A lot of things pointless in the lore now. Rest in peace, Lobaka, man. Oh, God, yeah. And so Lobaka's in the Legacy of the Force series that I'm reading. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that board. So let me go find it real quick. Please let there not be a crash. Last week, it went freaking smooth, and I was so happy, so excited about it. And the week before, I had some technical difficulties as well. So hopefully I don't have, I was hoping today that we wouldn't have, but we did. So it's a give or take. I'm just glad that I didn't lose you guys completely and you guys could hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this board here. Cross fingers, cross fingers. All right. Okay. So here's the board. And I did a video on this. So I did the video, my own video on the High Republic, even the trailer video or the video that they produced about the project and what they're doing. And I broke that down a little bit. And I did add this in here. So we have one column is fiction, one is Star Wars with a heart. So Star Wars love, whatever. And then Star Wars wishes. So let's break this down. So fiction, authentically lived in. So basically they want to stay to the lore, maybe, hopefully. No, and then surprise. So is this like another JJ's mystery box or whatever? Or Ryan Johnson's subverting expectations? What does that mean? Then we have the red highlighted diversity, because that's what makes fiction. So George and everyone who came before this, who wrote stories and movies and all that, that if that wasn't on their list, then they weren't doing it right? Oh, that's bullshit. Okay, actual ending, which fucking makes me laugh. I'm sorry, I had to cuss about that. This makes me laugh because actual ending, duh, when you write a story, you have to have an ending. Now, if you're doing like a series, like a trilogy, you are going to have a beginning, middle, and end. So you're going to have, a closure to just maybe the first movie that makes you want more. But then in the end, by the third one, and Rise of Skywalker did not do a good job on this, is having an actual ending. The Last Jedi felt like an ending, even though it was off-putting to a lot of people. It felt like its own movie. It didn't feel like a part of the trilogy or a part of Star Wars. Then feelings. So we must bring out the feelings, which probably goes with diversity. Oh, they are making diverse characters. And the diversity is basically humans. That's all. We don't have that in Star Wars. Humans didn't have to be diverse in a sense with Star Wars. Yes, we have Lando and all that, but it wasn't a big deal to and diverse with humans. The diversity fell upon all the species within the lore. And that's what I'm getting at. Diversity in George's era was all the species, including humans, in the lore. Star Wars is not a human-eccentric lore. Even though humans are the ones that have seeded themselves throughout the galaxy, it's not a human-eccentric lore. All right, relatable characters, because the Disney trilogy failed on that. And I was never attached to anybody in Rebels either. I didn't even really watch it except for being curious with Thrawn and watching those episodes. Sweeping and epic, which they failed again in the movie trilogy, the Disney trilogy. Star Wars with the heart, so meaning Star Wars as this is what Star Wars is about or what we love about Star Wars, that's kind of vague, Star Wars with a heart. So not pro-war. So I had debate on Twitter about this, and what I'm getting with this thing here is Star Wars has always been about war. There's always going to be a faction that's going to be pro-war. Star Wars always has revealed pro-war. So is this just Star Wars relating to High Republic where they're saying we don't want this to be war related? Who knows? All right, droids. Of course, Star Wars always has droids because the technology that they use. Scope. So the scope of things, like overall plot, what it's about. Mythic. So are they talking about mythology, which they failed to do in a lot of their lore already? Space and lightsaber battles. Okay, so if you're not going to have any war, then so this makes sense, but it doesn't. Well, of course, lightsabers is a Jedi weapon, and they only use it if necessary. And space battles. So is this going to be where they're going to have their smugglers and all that, and that they're fighting them? Maybe, who knows? No single main character. There's always one main character within the three main characters. Like Luke Skywalker was the main character, and we had Han and Leia who were the secondaries. They were the supporting main characters. We had our trio. Luke was the main, and then there was Han and Leia, and then we have Anakin the main, and then there was Obi-Wan and Padme. So we always do have a main character, the one that we focus on overall. It's usually a Skywalker, and Disney Lucasfilm failed to do that with their trilogy. And the Force. Of course, the Force is one of the main foundations of Star Wars. Now we're going to go to the last part of this, Star Wars wishes, High Republic. So they're wishing for High Republic while they're doing it. Relic hunters, which sounds interesting. I mean, but if we would expand it on Luke Skywalker's arc in the Disney trilogy, when you look at the lore for Legends, Luke did go out to find Jedi relics, archives, all of that, so he can rebuild the Jedi Order. That would have been great to expand on in their trilogy, at least part of it, so we can get a sense that Luke is focused as a Jedi Grand Master. University. So what does that mean? University. Is it the university like a higher education place? Are they saying university as universal? And a dinosaurs, exclamation mark. Woo, we need dinosaurs. So, when you look at Disney or Legends, we have the CC Rook that look like dinosaurs, or basically we had the Rancors that kind of remind you. So we have species that are resemblance to lizards and all that. But this to me makes me laugh because they want dinosaurs. How cute is that? Dinosaurs in Star Wars. Awesome. All right. Representation and diversity. That's another wish, which is in the fiction. So they're saying fiction needs to be diverse. And then they're saying representation and diversity again. So it's repeated twice because look at what we're dealing with in these modern days. The movies did have diversity. The Legends did have diversity. So I don't know what the hell the problem is other than playing virtue signaling with their virtue signal card. And Arthurian legends. So we're going into other lores as well, trying to bring them in. Rival houses, Sith Empire, and Chaos Agents. All right. So that's on that. So let's see what you guys had to say about it. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. All right, Stig, Relic Hunters, Indiana Jones, University, Harry Potter. There you go. Dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, Rival Houses, Game of Thrones, Arthurian Legends, Merlin. So basically, like the Arthurian Legends, like you said, Merlin, we already had that kind of thing with OT, and that goes with the hero's journey. Yeah, so they're reaching for other things. They're getting ideas from other franchises to build upon, and they already have their foundation already. So if they're missing the point and doing that, I don't know what to say. Let me scroll up here a little bit more. O.G.Starwars, some battle droids became individual droids doing their own way, their own thing, their own way. When you look at like the PT and the Clone Wars, a lot of the droids were deactivated. In the Disney trilogy and in the Disney lore, they are now considered sentient with Leet. So we shall see what comes of that. But droids are a part of the overall lore and stuff. We like we have the little clean mouse droids that zip around spaceships that the Empire used a lot, and those are those little things that zip around under their feet, and like that. Okay. Unfortunately, Disney Star Wars never ends. It never does, because they, erased the board, and so they have a lot to fill in. So we'll see this coming for a while. Alex, the fan in me wants to think dinosaur refers to the CC Rook, but the realist in me knows they're not that clever. Stieg, the different human skin colors of characters in the galaxy, thousands of species, isn't really diversity at all. No, because even if you look at there's even with other species like the Deveronians, the men are red with the horns, the women aren't. Okay. Gospel according, so the gospel, laugh out loud, they have droids until it's time to mop the floor. We got Finn for that. Yeah, and Broom Boy. Remember that? Broom Boy? Yeah, so yeah, that's only relevant when they need them. Then they forget. Especially when you look at the Disney trilogy and it's like 30 years from the OT, so that there has to be technical advancements. And we have Broom Boy. So MPL, O.G.Starwars, currently drawing while listening to the stream. I take MLP characters and turn them into Sith Lords. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to see that. It's amazing. All right, Alexander, what do we know about Hammer? Okay, I already read that one, I think. Sorry to write it again. I will expand on that. Next coffee chat. Stieg, the hammerheads are... Thank you, Stieg. I was going to expand more on that because I wanted to expand on some Wookiees and talk about the novelization. We already passed 10. Like I said, I don't have a time frame, but I don't want to keep you guys long either. But here's Stieg right here with that. Poet, the Sith thrived during the peacetime before the Clone Wars. Yes, they did. They thrived in hiding. And during that time, they studied Jedi and all this other stuff. That's why you hear Palpatine telling Anakin that he studied the Jedi and that he also studied the dark side. And that's when Anakin started putting two together. And that's the thing. The Jedi never really... because I thought they were extinct and all that stuff, they just left it alone and didn't even study the lore of the past with them and stuff. And that's where their ignorance came from. Stieg, it's kind of ironic since Disney Star Wars is fan fiction. Matt G, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. If I haven't had a chance to say hello. I was curious, when the prequels came out, didn't they contradict some of the EU? No, not really, because when they brought in EU characters and stuff, and when George Lucas started creating the movies, he forbid anybody to write in that era, in that timeline, until the movies were expanded on, until the movies came out. If there are alien species outmost become Jedi, or Sith are neutral. Okay, I did not quite understand that. If there are alien species outmost become Jedi or Sith. It depends, I guess you can say. It's about, if you go to the dark side, it's about moral and stuff and power. So it's more of a moral thing than it is anything else. And if you were trained from a child or whatever on up, depending on which faction, then you're going to be that. So if you're trained by a Sith Lord, then you're going to be a Sith. Problem is you're using Google Chrome. Oh yeah, so we already did here. All right. Let's go down now some more. If droids can think, there wouldn't be any of us here, Dex. Rest in peace, sentient droids. Droids have devolved into hair dryers. Exactly. And the thing is, people who don't like the original EU will use what's that droid's name again? Damn it. But there's in the what ifs infinities, there is a Jedi sentient droid, and it's just a what if story. And people will use that like, oh, it's such a mess because you have this sentient Jedi droid or whatever. But then now look at, they can't talk shit because Disney made it a reality with Leet. They said she's sentient, that and all that. So basically they have no room to talk anymore. I bet they're going to mess up the droid revolution. O.G.Starwars, stay with us. Atomic half-lives matter. Half-lives, huh? Okay, they like this dinosaur thing because all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were female. I expect. What I want is to know is when is BB6 going to turn into a Mustang? BB6? Are you talking about BB8? All right, Skippy. There you go. That's right, Skippy. I wasn't even thinking of an S word for him. That's why I was like, I had better not say it because it's not right. And I haven't read Infinities too much, but I just knew about him. Skippy the droid. Thank you so much, Dystopian. Vermithrax Maru. So then, will Yoda be making an appearance as he is old enough? That's the guess. That's the speculation with that. So let me take a drink. I need a drink. Again, if you're just joining, and this is my mug, insert eye roll here, fits today's topic. Since this is 200 years before the Phantom Menace, so he's probably around 700 or 600 years old. So he should be in existence during that time. If they don't write him in, then they have also failed with their lore, but I'm scared to have them use him as well because they're going to reinvent him from what we knew in the lore. Alexander, O.G.Starwars, between Jedi and the light side, is it happened? Oh, all right, say Star Wars between Jedi of the light side, is it happened? Like what happened? What happened? All right, Alex. Some people that think Skippy was canon also think Luke was Gary Stu. Exactly. Whilst ignoring the fact he was put into coma by X-Arcoon. Very good point. Not only that, he was very doubtful. When you read the Thrawn trilogy, he was doubting he can train his sister and the coming twins. There was a lot of doubt in him regarding all of that. Plagueis is old enough too, I think. Maybe. How long do Muns live? Let's look this up. I never got their lifespan. So Darth Plagueis, he is a Mun, male. He died. It doesn't have his birth on here. Oh, that's canon. Let's look in Legends then. Ooh. What? It's not letting me bring up Legends for his art. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's see here. Born between 147 to 120 BBY. Died 32 BBY. So it looks like he may have been alive. Yeah, he should be alive during that time if they stick with his arc that was created. However, Who knows if they will? So there may be a Plagueis in there if they play it right. And the thing is, he was a Sith in hiding in plain sight because his family was one of the biggest bank owners on Munulin. And he then was Palpatine alive during that time? Let me see. I am very curious now. We're going to do some investigating, you guys. Okay. Oh, Palpatine. He probably isn't because he's human, but I'm very curious. Because in that time frame, if they count down all the way to that, to the Phantom Menace, then he's going to be alive at some point. And you know, force beings are known to live long. Okay, so Sheev Palpatine was born 82 BBY on Naboo, and then he died for ABY above Endor, Sanctuary Moon. So we have his master alive during that time, and then are right around that time frame, and then we have him, you know, born, you know, within between the two time frames from the High Republic that's coming out, that they're bringing out, and the Phantom Menace. So I'm very curious on what they're going to do with that. So Plagueis did prolong his life as he was experimenting with it and stuff, but again, he couldn't save himself from dying. So, you know, and when you look at Luke Skywalker's arc in Legends, he the estimated time he died that they think was 140, like before, I think 137 ABY. So, you know, but we never got to really pin down when he passed away because the franchise was sold. So that's just a guesstimate. So Force users can prolong lives, and we've seen that with Yoda as well. To train Luke, he tried to keep himself thriving to meet with him one more time in Return of the Jedi. No, there wasn't any training, but they had console, and he put him on one more mission, and that's to confront Vader. All right, Alex. Yep, he also questioned his abilities when his potential first student, Dev, died. Yes. Happy day to all. How are you doing, Happy Dinosaur? Good morning or afternoon. Alexander, Star Wars, O.G.Starwars, what is the weirdest droid in Star Wars? I don't know. If you're talking Disney, that'd be that hairdryer one. I think that was very off-putting. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. I will. If you guys have your idea of the weirdest droid in Star Wars, comment below. Happy to see you. Happy Dinosaur. Yes, we are. Thank you for coming. Hey, Will, how are you doing? What up, chaps and chapieses? Is that how you pronounce it? Goodness Lord, I'm sorry if I butchered that. Atomic Half-Lives Matter. I find myself not really caring or being all that curious are bothered anymore, to be honest, which is sad, as one of the first of the public to see New Hope in the preview when I was about 5. And that's the thing, and I've stated that before, is that if you grew up on this and expanded yourself in the lore by reading the novels and comics, playing the games and stuff, this is gonna you're gonna probably feel indifferent about it. Some try to connect the pieces between the two timelines. Have at it. I don't think it works. Other people said they have made it work, but since then, who knows? Alexander, Jabba is the most powerful Hutt. He is the most clever Hutt because he rose to power by killing his aunt and his aunt or his mom? His aunt and so forth. And he maintained a well-organized crime syndicate of that time. All right. I'm incredible happy to see you as well at Soul Assassin. Awesome. Everybody's saying hello. I love it. The weirdest droid is easily L337 are elite. Yes, I agree. Okay, BT16 perimeter droids. Yeah, I see that. Happy dinosaur, happy day to you, Lorena. Look at that. Awesome. You guys are amazing. I would say these brain droids. Oh, that's right. The monks, they would take the brains out and also they would put them in a droid and they had like spider leg appendages and stuff like that. Yes, I forgot about them. Thank you. And I know, like, which was it? It was in the series that has Callista, I believe, and Luke and Han were on Tatooine, and they do come across those. They go into Jabba's palace, and they do come across those. Oh, thank you, Soul Assassin. I forgot about that. Was it Soul Assassin? Yeah. Alex, I remember a Sith battle droid in KOTOR that hops around on one leg. Weird design. Yeah. Kind of not effective, right? Okay, thank you. O.G.Starwars, what is doing that rectangular droid in the Galactic Empire? Oh, those little ones that zip around on the floor. Those, if you're talking about those are the mouse droids that clean. If that's what I'm getting at. Or that's what you're thinking. Did Jabba kill his aunt by putting salt on her? No. They battled. And the thing is that, okay, so when we talk about diversity in Star Wars, the Hutts were hermaphrodites, or they had both sexes. So, yeah. So Disney, Star Wars, like, oh, we need diversity. We need gender this and gender that. Well, Star Wars already had that. Okay. Donk droids, Alexander. All right. O.G.Starwars, I saw L337 in a video on YouTube. Yeah, that was very off-putting. So now we're going to go ahead and, I was going to expand a little bit more on Wookiees, but I'm not going to do that today. We're going to go into the lore. The book Fury. I hope some of you guys have read the book or at least watched my video. If you have not and you're not aware of that book or read it, then I suggest that maybe you go watch it later. I didn't have it on Audible, so I didn't get to do any clips about it on my like I normally do on my video. So I apologize for that. I did read a page and a half. And I thought that was very compelling. And I do have the book here and notes and everything, because that's what I do, is I write and annotate in my books, just like this. And like I say, I'm big about continuity and cross-referencing everything to the movies and to each other. I think it's fun. I think there are fun gems to find. And you can find that in almost every single book. Even if you don't like the series or the book, you can always find a reference back to something. And I think that's a wonderful thing about Star Wars. And that's what I geek about Star Wars a lot. So we'll cover just basically Wookiees a little tiny bit. Again, we had Tarfel, who was not a Jedi, but one of them that was almost made a Jedi. I did a little bit of research on this. Gungi into Padawan in the Clone Wars, and then didn't survive Order 66, obviously. Lobaka, Trivaka. He also was on the Jedi High Council of his time. Roar, Korvaka, and then again Hanhar, who was wanted at first. The developers wanted him to be a Sith Wookiee or a dark side Wookiee. And that would have been really, really interesting to see a Sith Wookiee, because of the fact that they're so ferocious and they demand so much respect, and they are feared, Wookiees in general. And that would have been fun to see. That would be fun to see a Sith Wookiee. And I think they even said that they were going to allow that to be an option, but it didn't happen. I haven't played KOTOR, so if anybody has, please comment about it. As far as I know it, they did not expand on that. Yeah, so mouse droids are just Roombas. Yes, they are. Our Roombas are just round. Those are rectangular. And that's why I asked about that, if they were the rectangular ones was what Alexander was talking about. Yes, they are going everywhere in the Death Star and cruisers. Yes, the mouse droids, the cleaning droids. You write in the Star Wars books, good heavens, we need to talk about your blasphemy behavior. It's not blasphemy, sorry, I don't think it is. So I also write in everything, I annotate basically. And again, I cross-reference. So sue me. I don't care. Yeah. All right. So that's just a little bit about Wookiees. You can expand your own knowledge on that by looking it up and stuff. But those, just for everybody to know, since, you know, they're coining that Wookiees, this will be the first time we ever see a Wookiee develop as a Jedi. No. And that's what I get they're hinting at. This is the first time because they put Gungi as in there as an example to be in the lore. They do not even speak about legend Wookiees. And so they say he was a Padawan and didn't make it because of Order 66. So this is our first time we're going to see Wookiees developed in the lore as a Jedi. And that's not true because we have Lobaka, who grew up with the Solo twins and Anakin and them, and grew up in the Jedi Praxium under Luke Skywalker. So take that. No, I'm joking. Hanhar is a bounty hunter in the second KOTOR game. Yeah, and that's what I wrote here. Not a Jedi or Sith, but a bounty hunter. So I thought that was interesting. Alex Krogan, been subscribed for a while, but now trying to catch up on your streams. You know your Star Wars lore. I try my best, and you know, if I find something that I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that, I will share with you guys and add it to my knowledge, because it's such a vast history that George and his team, his franchise built. It's like 25 centuries of it, and it goes like what? 25,000 whatever all the way to 147. So we have 25,000 BBY all the way to 0 ABY of the New Hope, and after that it's 0 all the way to 147 ABY. So it's a huge vast of history that they were filling in and creating, and George got like world records for creating a franchise with such a vast history that was all connected to one source material, the movies, which are the foundation. Did you say you have played KOTOR 2? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Not yet. I have KOTOR 1 and I will be playing that soon. Just haven't started yet. I do have the game. And you guys will know when I do that. And I think I might live stream it. I'm not sure. All right. Oh dear. I don't know what that is about. Sorry. Soul Assassin, whatever I do what I want. Okay. Mr. Dystopian, maybe if they had a mod to make Hanhar a Jedi. And they were going to think about it. That's the thing. When I was reading about KOTOR and about the Jedi and Wookiees, basically, it was said he was to be a Jedi, but most likely they wanted him to be a Sith. That was shot down by George himself, and they made him a bounty hunter. So, I mean, he's still, still fun character as a bounty hunter. I mean, bounty hunters are pretty cool. Okay. O.G.Starwars, everybody loves you. Oh, I love you all. You guys here for being with me. We've got 22 here. 22 of you guys here. Let me take a drink, and then we'll get on with the lore. Get that out of my way. Mason, hail O.G.Starwars. Love the content, but never awake early enough for your coffee streams. Finally caught one. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I'll post this real quick. Oh, you said it because it crashed. But it only happened on my end. Oh. That happens. I mean, technology these days, right? Also, Legends is canon. And I say, you do you. You go on what you want and love about Star Wars. Stig sent me a link to someone that was trying to shame people for not liking the High Republic, saying if you don't like it, you must not be a Star Wars fan, which I think is full as shit. I've always told people, if you love Disney's Star Wars, great. I respect that. I, however, don't care for it, and I will compare and contrast. So just know my platform, I am gonna talk and compare, the Disney Star Wars to the original lores, show what contradicts. If there's something that, is good to talk about, I may say, hey, I give them credit or whatever. That's rarely said right now. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. And if you like both and you're in the middle, like basically on the fence about everything and you like all of it, that's fine too. If you're strictly George Lucas era, Legends, movies, games, etc., that's great too. A lot of people are returning to Legends and I love it. You can download a mod made by developers that restores the adds all the cut content from KOTOR 2, and it is a must to install. O.G.Starwars, who can compare to the Hutt in the criminal economy? Prince Caesar, I think he was brilliant. He had his huge foundation that still stayed true after he was killed. Stieg, it happened on my end too, Will. Oh, wow. So I wonder what happened because I didn't see any glitch or anything. So maybe, I don't know. That's weird. It's just the mysteries of StreamYard, right? Nerd Cookies. Is there something Disney could realistically do to get you excited about the new Star Wars movie? Are you talking about the Disney trilogy? Because I really think that's displaced. I do like Mandalorian for what it is. It's a fun watch. And it does have some continuity to Legends. Not that I'm saying it's gold to Legends or it is Legends, but when I talked about earlier about how they inserted that you don't have to necessarily be born on Mandalore to be a Mandalorian, that you can be adopted. Basically, that's in Legends. And so when they say, oh, well, Fetts aren't Mandalorians, well, if you look at Jango Fett, he was adopted by Jester Morale. And I think he was even born on Concord Dawn as well. I'll have to look into that. But I vaguely remember, so I'll have to look into that. But so he was adopted as a Mandalorian, if you want to go that way, because Jester took him under his wings. So there, no. Speaking of Star Wars games, I personally find Jedi Academy the better games, but I found Second Sister in Jedi Fallen Order a better villain than Tavion. Very interesting. I have not played that Jedi, or I haven't got into Jedi Fallen Order. I hear good things about it. So a lot of people like it for what it is, so we'll see. I think they're thinking about making a part 2 to that now. Agree, Alex. Jedi Academy was perfect. Yes, and that's what I'm hearing too as well. That's one of them that's recommended to me to play. I like Paige Tico. I would like a movie about her. Paige Tico. Oh, is that Rose Tico's sister, the one that exploded inside the ship? Is that her name? Paige? See, I don't know. But if it's her, then that would be kind of interesting. And that's kind of sad when you're just a character that barely had any time in the movie. People are more curious about than the ones that we watched developed, right? Becky Browand, hi, how are you doing? Good morning or afternoon. I hope you're having a great day here. So basically on this cover here, we have, Ben Skywalker, the real Ben, the actual Ben. And that was the thing that I did not like, is them having in the Disney trilogy, Leia name her son Ben. So we have a Ben Solo, when in fact she never really had any ties to Ben or Obi-Wan Kenobi other than her father did work with them or knew him from the PT era. Luke is the one that had a lot more contact with Ben and influence of Ben since he was little. So it makes more sense, and legend does it right that Mara and Luke Skywalker named their son Ben after Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we have him on the cover of the book, and I really like that. For Star Wars games, the only one I have played so far is Force Unleashed because I have to be careful with my epilepsy. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm just struggling to think of what Disney might realistically do for a movie that would interest me. They've just dug themselves into a hole creatively with the sequels. They did. And I think they will, I don't know if they're ever recover from it. I don't know. We shall see. Now in Disney Plus, again, like the series, it's an okay series. There's some things I'm like, I don't care for. And I'm one of them that doesn't really care for the baby or the child of the Yoda species. So, I mean, I just see a lot of, it's just nostalgia. It's nostalgia bait. Star Wars, yes, this is her. Okay. Yes, everybody's agreeing about the Jedi Academy. Whoa. What the heck? Something just dropped out of the corner of my studio back here where I have beading supplies. That scared the shit out of me. All right. I just sent you some of the art I mentioned. I sent it to your Twitter. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. And if you see this right here, this is part of, I do a lot of paintings and stuff. Characters, realistic, real life type stuff. Becky, I like how in Legend Leia and Han named their youngest son Anakin. Nice way to play respect for Leia's daddy. Exactly. And there's such a beautiful arc with her doing that and why she does that. And Tatooine Ghost is basically explains or shows off how she starts forgiving her father, how she starts honoring her Skywalker legacy and all that. It's such a beautiful story for her. O.G.Starwars, I played the original Rogue One video game. The original one? Do they have a game out for Rogue One? Or are you talking about Dark Forces? Because Dark Forces basically is what Rogue One is a knockoff of. My house is haunted? Probably. Where I live at in this reservation community, there, like, we have a slough line that's just kind of like maybe half a mile from my house, and there's a lot of lore about that. And then where I live at basically used to be just like right in the area where I live at, and my house is probably like a border to it. There's a pond there, and just like a block down, there's a plot that was not developed, and it's basically sacred site where there's burials, past burials and stuff, and mounds and everything. Yeah, so possibly, I wouldn't doubt it. So there's a little history about me and where I live at right now. Oh my gosh, I love Tatooine Ghost. Yes, we're gonna have to strictly one day just talk about Tatooine Ghost, and Han and Leia in that book is amazing. All right, O.G.Starwars, I have been drawing since I was 7. I was also told by everyone around me that me wanting to be an artist was unrealistic. My friend always told me I had an insane talent. Nice. That's me. I drew since I could remember picking up a crayon. I nerded out on PBS watching Bob Ross and all that. Yeah. And the courtship of Princess Leia. That's also good. I love Luke's finding the ship and all the archives and lore that's in there. I like that little plot in that as well. It is. Cassian Andor, a diet Kyle Katarn. I agree. O.G.Starwars, yes, it was shooting game in the 90s. Yes. That's what I thought you were getting at. I'm going to run and go get my cord because my battery is on green warning. So name, all of you guys, if you played games, name your absolutely favorite Star Wars game. And it doesn't have to pertain to just Legends, because I know people did like the newer games coming out. I'm going to run and get my, you know what? My cord is right here. So while I plug this in, I usually set my stuff up in my living room where I sit and draw and stuff. And that's where I plug in my, my computer. Like I said, the avatar on here, I am still in the process of drawing her out. So I'm working on the torso right now. That's why you only see the top portion, is that's what I've gotten done. So that's my face on the figure of Jaina Sola in her X-Wing stealth X-Wing flight suit. And so I thought that was really interesting. Those who don't know about it always thought it was like a dark trooper kind of outfit. Nope, it's the Stealth X flight suit. Lorena, I have Tatooine Ghost on my bookshelf now. Awesome. Oh God, girl, you're going to love that read. I guarantee you will. If you love Han and Leia's story, their love story, that is amazing. And if you want more continuity and learning how Leia learns about her grandmother Shmi and all that, it's just awesome. She learns about her father as well, about him slaughtering the Tusken Raiders. Amazing read. Amazing. All right. Have you read Old Wounds? It did Maul's death better than Rebels. No, I have not. And I was talking to Stig about this, and I need to expand on Maul's arc. Maul's not my favorite character, so I never really expanded on his arc like individually. Stig, the Jedi Academy is my favorite easily. Yes. Couture. Lego Star Wars all day is my favorite. And that you could play on your phone as well. Lorena, don't laugh. My favorite game is Lego Star Wars. No, it's a fun game. It's fun. O.G.Starwars, I read the Timothy Zahn's trilogy. It was great. In the eight books, Leia was on the planet of the species of the elite soldiers Thrawn. Yeah, she was on the Nogri. She was on Nogri, the Nogri's planet, Honaker. Yes. Battlefront 2. Couture and Jedi Academy, easy choices, so I am giving Republic Commando a spotlight. Oh, okay. Mine too, Lorena. Yes. Hi, the unexpected geek nemesis. How are you doing? How are you doing? My hair is supposed to be curled, and my hair is relatively straight, so when I curl it, sometimes it just doesn't want to hold its curl. So I'm looking like a hot mess today. I don't know. Maybe not. It's just my own judgment of myself. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't be hard on myself. Stig, Star Wars Episode 1 did Maul's death perfectly. Then Filoni happened. I agree. All right, so let's get to this book because I keep on saying we're going to get to it, and we don't. All right, so this book happened around 40 ABY, so after the Battle of Yavin. So when I say ABY, it's after Battle of Yavin, BBY, before Battle of Yavin. And we have... the planets visited is Cominor, Corellia, Coruscant, Endor, Jindine, Hapes, Kashyyyk, Korriban. Yes, Korriban. MZX 32905, which is a meteor. That's Lumaya's place. Talos and Trallis. So we expand on those worlds there. Those are involved in the book here. I am a fan of Maul, but he should have stayed dead after episode 1. I agree because to me it just does not make sense for them to bring him back, because then it kind of destroys the fact that Obi-Wan killed the Sith. It destroys that arc of Obi-Wan and his knighthood. He was knighted because he killed him. Okay. O.G.Starwars never played much of Star Wars PC games unless you count Battleground Saga from 1998. I used a cheat code to spawn in Death Star, and used Ewoks as target practice. Do it. Then we got do it after that. That's awesome. O.G.Starwars, my favorite game is the shooter Dark Force. Yes. Yes. All right. So in this book here, in this book here, we have Luke still thinking that Alima Rar is the one that killed Mara Jade. And so basically that's the Jedi Order's first priority is hunting her down. And basically, we have Jaina, Zek, and Jag, those three that are on a mission to find her. And also, we have the Galactic Civil War, Second Galactic Civil War still continuing. We do have like biological warfare that's trying to be done on Coruscant by the Confederates. Corellia reinstates and operates Centerpoint Station, and Coruscant is the target. And, the Wookiee, Kashyyyk, they're still recovering from the attack that Jacen Solo did from the previous novel. And this Legacy of the Force basically is from 40 ABY all the way to 41.5. So it happens within a year and a half or 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. And so that's the time frame of this. This book is basically 40 ABY, so it still happens within the year. And so a lot happens within 1 year. Until we get to Revelation and Invincible. Let's see here. I hate that they brought back Maul. He even says in the Revenge of the Sith book that he killed Maul. Yes, spot on. Yes, so I agree too. So that's why I've never favored that. For the time being, for what he was for the Phantom Menace, he was perfect. I liked him. He was a great character for the time being. I mean, he was fascinating. It gave Obi-Wan his greater arc, and we understood that he was knighted and was able to take a Padawan because of that, and that totally destroys it. It totally destroys it, and that's why I feel like Filoni is more better in Disney Lucasfilms than anything else. All right, so let's get back to the book. So Jacen returns to Hayt and abducts his daughter. So in the previous book, in Inferno, Tenno Call, Jacen Solo's love interest, because they could never marry or anything because of who she is, and they had a daughter together. She pulls the fleet out of Jacen's command and leaves because how Jacen attacks Kashyyyk and everything that he's doing, in short. And so what he does is he kidnaps, because their daughter is a secret. So he's a secret to his relationship to his daughter. So no one knows that he's Alana's dad. So when he goes and abducts her, people think that he's doing that out of spite and stuff. But in a sense, she's already familiar with who he is. But he uses Alana to try to get Queen Mother Tenno Call to return her fleet back to his command. And so the Jedi send out, Luke Skywalker and them send out a strike force to rescue her as well. Also, during that time frame, when Jacen's on Coruscant, the Jedi sent out a strike team to after Jacen Solo, and they plant a tracking device on him so they can keep track of him, where he's at and stuff like that. And we also get Kyle Katarn that is gravely injured during that attack. And so that's a great expansion on that. It's a great read just in that little part of the book. It's a great read on their confrontation with him in the underworlds of Coruscant and their battle and how they put that tracking device on him. And he doesn't know. For a while, he doesn't even know what's on him. And so that's a great little bit to read as well inside the novel. And then we have... we also have the Jedi having a sanctuary on Endor, and that's where Luke goes to mourn. So basically, he doesn't give up. He doesn't hide away from the galaxy. He doesn't cower. He doesn't give up on his family and friends and the Jedi Order. He takes the time as a Jedi Master to mourn, to meditate, to contemplate on his roles, and also revisit his decision when he goes on to Anakin Solo in Inferno to disable the ship and realizes his son is captured and tortured by his nephew. And so we have that conflict. And so he rethinks, if he would have killed him, would it have been better off, or leaving him alive? Is it better off that saving his son and all this stuff and what he did for his son was it worth it for the galaxy? So he goes in and he doubts his actions, but he also knows if he would have done it, him or his son would have turned dark. So there's a lot of depth going along in Luke Skywalker's mind on what he did. Was it right or wrong? Where they should go from there. It's a great little comparison to Jake Skywalker and Luke Skywalker of Legends. So let me see what you guys have to say here. All right. When I think the courtship of Princess Leia, I just have to smile when I remember the interactions between C-3PO and Han, especially when C-3PO is trying to cheer him up by singing the Han Solo song. Awesome. Yes. Soul Assassin, a fun game series for you, Laura, is those Super Star Wars games from the Super Nintendo. I used to have a Super Nintendo. The Maul return in the EU was just some vision thing. Yeah. Maul was great when he didn't say much. He was awesome. Yeah. So that was that mysterious villain mystique vibe of him just ensuing power without speaking. That was amazing. O.G.Starwars. After the Phantom Menace, I was a big fan of Qui-Gon Jinn. Then he cried and begged like a little girl when Palpy beat him in the Clone Wars. Threat level down to 0. And after that, he's got beaten by so many, even Ahsoka. All right. Star Wars. The only Star Wars novel I own, I call Truce at Bakura, was written and published in 1994. Yes, that's a great read because the Truce at Bakura basically happened right after the events of the Return of the Jedi. Wookie Supremacy, hello. How are you doing? All right, so let's get back into this novel here. Ben still suspects Jason killing his mother, but he hasn't really went into depth about this. But he, the next novel that we will go talk about and expand on will have Ben really doing his investigation against Jason Solo, proving that he did kill his mother. So Jason sees his father start emerging from his grief and stuff. So Ben sees his father emerge from the grief. He doesn't really want to talk to him about him suspecting Jason. He doesn't want to cause him to go back and shrink into himself again. But he does want to prove that Jason did it. So in this time frame, which I think is another great read in this book, is that Ben and Luke train. So Luke further trains his son, and we get to read that Luke teaches him how to make his first lightsaber, which is part of your transformation as a Jedi, is creating and making your own lightsaber. So again, it's in the lore. You have to make your own lightsaber as part of your transformation as a Jedi Knight, which we barely get with Rey, and it's like shoehorned in at the end with that yellow saber. So yeah. And so that, like I said, they launch a strike team to rescue Alana, and we also have Ayala Wasiri Antilles as well as part of this. And if you don't know who she is, that's Wedge's wife. And towards the end, we have Jagged Fell. If you know his stories from Darkness trilogy, he is an outcast, and his family loses their honor with the Chiss, and it's and so at this end of this book, we see that Jagged Fell restores his family's honor in the Chiss ascendancy. He's not Chiss, but they lived among them for so many years that they are part of the community, the overall world. And if you know Jaina and Jag's story, they've always been involved in one shape, way, or form. And so they start discussing the relationship with each other, and that they decide that they still want to remain in each other's lives. So we start seeing them slowly come together. And then, towards the end of the timeline before the buyout, they do marry. Sorry, I gave you spoilers. I didn't, but they do marry. And one interesting thing about this here, because I'm looking at the Reader's Companion, which is oddly made by Pablo Hidalgo. So this yows that every single novel's in here, even the young reader series, I guess you can say, is in here. And they also have interesting bits, like one I'm going to do a video on is about how they came up with Darth Cadis's name. So I'm going to do that as a fun fact. But here's one fun fact. So a working title for Fury was a synonymous to rage. The destruction of Centerpoint would unleash calamitous repercussions that would haunt the heroes in the fate of the Jedi, again linking continuity. Series that follows. A happier development in Fury is Lando Calrissian learning that his wife, yes, that's one thing I did not cover inside my lore videos about Lando Calrissian, and I'm sorry I didn't, but we're going to talk about it right now. He is married to Tendra, and she is pregnant. Their son would be featured in the character in the Millennium Falcon in 2008. That's when it came out. So if you haven't read the Millennium Falcon novel, you'll get to know more about their son. And Outcast. So that's in the Fate of the Jedi series as well. Ship the Sith Meditation Spear would reappear in Amen in 2009. So Ship is in this novel as well. The second book of the Fate of the Jedi series in flashback chapters that pick up on immediately from Fury. So from this book, Fury. And so in here, we also have one Sith that are starting to come into light that goes all the way back to Legacy. And so the Jedi are hunting Alima Rar because they supposedly suspect that she's the one that killed Mara Jade, but also the one Sith are after her as well. So we get to expand on the one Sith as well. And they start coming into the lore because of Ship. They finally have a way to get off their planet. So Secrets of the Jedi and Legacy of the Jedi were the first Star Wars books I read. Awesome. Back when Pablo Hidalgo wasn't a hack. Yeah, I think, he's got new employment, so he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. So the next book that we're going to expand on, and we're coming up on our 2-hour mark here, so we're going to start closing down here. So thank you guys so much for joining me. The next book is Revelation, and that has, I thought I put it over here with me. No? I thought I grabbed it for this too, so I can show you guys. Damn it, I did not. Well then, so the next book is Revelation. I did post it on my Twitter, and on the cover is Darth Cadis. And this is one of the favorite reads of the series. We will be touching bases on that and going through the arc of that. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening with this as well. And it leads up into the last and final book, Invincible. So if you like the Mandalorians, you like Boba Fett, you want to learn more about the relationship between Jaina Solo and Boba Fett, even though, Boba Fett and her father has been like enemies, respectful enemies in the past. And I say respectful because to Boba Fett, it's all about a job. Then that's a great read. We also get a lot of character arc with Darth Cadis, and we get more about Luke as well. But this is basically, we get Natasi Dala back in here. We get Pelion, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you are a huge Pelion fan, this is not going to be too good for you, maybe. I don't know. So, but Pelion is in this as well. Natasi Dala is brought back in here, which then she's more, it sets her up for Fate of the Jedi as well. Dago's cosplay Java. Why was Mara killed off? I know Karen Travis wrote it, but I heard elsewhere George ordered it. Don't know. Didn't like she was killed off. All right. So George, yes, she was a character that was suggested to be killed off. And so she was killed off. And just like we had Chewie killed off, they're not really going to kill off their legacy characters whatsoever. But even though I'm a huge Mara Jade fan, I get why she was killed off. It expands Luke's arc all the way into Fate of the Jedi and into Crucible. So yeah, she was killed off, and it was ordered by the company, by the man himself, and I get why. So, all right. So again, you guys, look out for my lore review on Tuesday's lore on my channel here, O.G.Starwars, Revelation, and we will talk more about it Thursday, coffee chat. And any other news or lore we'll expand on as the time comes for coffee chat as well. So thank you guys for coming in and spending this time with me chatting Star Wars news, lore, and the novel that I expanded on my channel. I'm going to go ahead and read these last ones, and then we're going to call it a day. Stieg, they need the good guys to take a loss. Of course they do. That's what makes stories compelling. And she was a beloved character, although she was not a legacy character or a main character. So, I mean, that put a lot of weight into that. The Hand of Thrawn books made me love Palpatine, the only Imperial to have the balls to say, we've lost, we need to move on. He learned that from Thrawn. Palpatine was a great character. I liked how he continued to develop after the Thrawn trilogy. Exactly. O.G.Starwars, what would be the better way to bring back the Gungans on screen? I don't know. Maybe expand on some stories from Naboo, maybe? Been fun. Later, y'all. All right, so thank you guys again. Thank you for coming in. Be sure to watch out for my video, lore video, Revelation, this coming Tuesday, and any Star Wars news that's coming out. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and tweet me if there's anything you want to expand on. I don't mind if you were like, let's talk about this character or this species or whatever. So I want this to be about you as well and expanding your knowledge with original EU or legends. So thank you so much, and may the Force be with you. I'll talk to you guys later. See you on Twitter.